Joker Fully Ado is amazing, and I love it. So, Joker 2, or Joker Fully Ado, whatever you want to call it, I'll be addressing it as Joker 2 because I'm going to forget the other name, is great. And I'm going to tell you why. Alright? I know, it's taboo. Everybody hates this movie. What is it? 30% on Rotten Tomatoes? Garbage. Rated the lowest superhero movie, even under Morbius. Ugh. Well, everybody's wrong, and I'm right. Your opinions, nothing compared to mine. Mine are just better. So, I'm here to discuss why this movie is so great. I'm doing an in-depth analysis of every single musical part in this movie, at least that I saw. Maybe there's a couple parts I missed that were negligible, but all the major musical parts and any just major plot points in the movie, I will be going over to prove this is a good movie. I'm going to break this video up into two segments. I'm going to have a segment where it's spoiler-free, which is going to be this beginning part, and where there are spoilers, which is going to be, I don't know, third through the video. I'll leave timestamps to show where, and I'll also warn you before I go into spoilers, because the last thing I want to do is ruin this movie for you. Now, I know some of you already have the movie ruined because you watched it, at least from what you say, but I'm here to try to convince you, hey, it really wasn't that bad. And I want to say the first thing I want to say, you are not an incel, okay? Every single thing that I see where people are like, actually, this movie is really great. Anyone who disagrees is an incel, all right? You just love Joker 1 so much, but you misunderstood it. You misunderstood what the author wanted you to really understand. It was making fun of the Joker, actually. Yeah, you know, in 1984, it's actually making fun of you. Shut up! Oh my god. Shut up. Okay, close your pretentious mouth and shut up. The first Joker was amazing. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't. I liked it, and it seems a lot of other people liked it. That doesn't make me a fucking incel, alright? It doesn't make you incels either, alright? It's just such a dumb term that people throw around because it makes them, I don't know, feel better. I'm not here to tell you you're an incel, alright? That's not the purpose, alright? If you think that's the purpose, you're at the wrong video, pal. I'm here to just explain and say, hey, this movie isn't just counteracting the first movie, it's actually adding on. Okay? That's a main thing. Because everybody's just like, oh, it's actually just removing everything from the last movie and just garbage. No! Okay? I'm going to tell you why later on in the video. So let's get started in my non-spoiler zone. In this section, I'm just going to be going over people's main complaints with this movie and why they're just wrong or dumb, one of the two. If you don't want to watch this, that's fine. Skip to the spoiler zone. And if you don't want to watch this, but you don't want spoilers, just don't watch the video. To get started with this, I want to say that this movie is getting too much hatred for the wrong reasons. I watched a video today, very disappointed in the video. Here it is, if I can edit that in. Haven't done it yet, but we're going to find out. And this movie was referred as plotless, themeless, junk of crap, or along those lines. Don't quote me. No. Alright? I watch movie reviewers for their opinions, okay? That's why I watch them. Otherwise, what's the point? But I don't watch them to get lied to. You cannot tell me that this movie is plotless, themeless. You can say it's trash junk, but you can't say it's those two. Because you're lying. You're just lying. That's not an opinion. That's a lie. Alright? And that pisses me off. Because that defeats the purpose of a review. It's your opinion. And you saying it's plotless isn't an opinion. That's you trying to state fact about a movie that just isn't true. Alright? I don't know if there's such a thing as a plotless movie. And if there is, I really don't know what to say. So, quit lying. Alright? Thanks. And to prove to you that I also have terrible takes on movies, well, I mean, kind of counterintuitive, but whatever. I don't like Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I don't like Into the Spider-Verse because I hate the animation. Wow, Carson just said that. Wow. Alright, dumb reason. Absolutely. But it's my opinion. That's all it is. Alright, I'm not saying it's plotless. I'm not saying the characters didn't grow, didn't have any development, because that would be a lie. Alright, I'm not gonna lie to you. Alright, I wanna get your trust. And I would be shooting myself in the foot if I said that. So that's my dumbass reason for why I don't like the movie. Now, for the second movie, I have other reasons, but I'm not going to go into depth with that. So, I also have my bad takes. Or, bad, I should say. But, that's my take. And, you know what? You might not like it. I might not like it. Well, I actually do. But, it's just how it is. And it's opinion. So, I'm okay for people that don't like this movie. I'm not forcing that. I just want to help out the notion that this movie is a waste, because it's not. It's a good movie, and I really hope more people enjoy it. And I also want to go over the argument that a lot of people have. This movie is a cash grab. Are you insane? Oh my god. Yes! That is why movies are made. They are made to make money. But this one's a blatant cash grab. Are you kidding me? You could say that to any sequel. Oh, the first movie did amazing. I'm gonna make a second one. Alright? If you're Alvin and the Chipmunks, you make 5 of them, 4, however many they made. But that doesn't matter. Okay? You'll call it a cash grab if it's a bad movie in your opinion, but if it's amazing, then it's not a cash grab. It's not. Well, you didn't call Shrek 2 a cash grab. Oh, but they had that one in mind after making the first one. So what? If the second movie is good, then it's good. Suck it up. Alright? If the second movie's bad, it's bad. Now, there's cash grabs. I'm not disagreeing with that. But this movie is more than just a cash grab. And for anyone that only sticks to that reason, shut up. Shut up. Thanks. And before I go into depth, I want to say that I didn't love every aspect of this movie. Alright? This movie had a lot of common issues with the first movie. So many scenes are way too on the nose. Okay? Like, I mean, there could just be a bush in front of Joker, and he's like, that's a bush. You know? Bushes. Bush. Yeah. You know, the themes are a little too on the nose. The musicals don't help that out. They're really, really on the nose a lot of the times and can almost be repetitive, but maybe they are a little bit repetitive, just to say. But so what? Okay? There are amazing movies out there that aren't perfect with every single scene. Okay? We are now going into the spoiler zone. I want to start by saying I like this movie before going in depth with it. And for one thing only. Joker doesn't have a backstory. He doesn't. Alright, that defeats the purpose of the character. Joker isn't known for wearing clown makeup. And if you say, oh, he is, well, in The Dark Knight, he doesn't wear clown makeup when he dresses up as a guard. And guess what? He's still terrifying. Because Joker can be anybody. That's Joker. He can be anybody. He doesn't have a backstory. His backstory exceeds all. Alright? That was my main gripe with the first movie. And the second movie, as we all know, fixed that. We don't know the name of the prisoner that killed Arthur. We saw him in at least one scene. I don't know. I didn't really look for him much else. But I know we saw him in one scene of the movie. One other scene. But that's it. That's all we know about this inmate. Meaning, yes, I don't like that they could still like technically find his record on the database or whatever. That's not my point. Is to the audience, we don't know who that person is, and that's important to me because that's the Joker. That is what the Joker is all about. So there was some guy on Reddit, and I just had to quote this. All right, he said, having the real Joker be inspired by some original Joker totally undermines the character. It makes the Joker, the one who eventually fights Batman, feel like a copycat, not the real deal, just an imposter. This weekend's Batman's arch enemy. No, this is wrong. That is just wrong. This random inmate was betrayed by the person he idolized. Clearly idolized, and we can even see from that one section of the movie I was talking about earlier, right after Joker is done with his song where he's singing in front of the TV, and then he goes around the whole, like, where all the inmates are sitting, and they're like, what do you think about that, Joker? You know, they want you to die. Guess who it cuts to? The inmate. And he's smiling because he likes the Joker. Alright? And it also is important, and, like, just doesn't undermine the character. Because let's think here. When Arthur said, I'm not the Joker, I don't want to be the Joker, whatever. What did Harley do? Dumped his ass. Left him. Okay. What did the people that take him away from the building do? They tried to help him, actually. What did anyone try to do? Hurt him. Or kill him. I guess hardly technically hurt him, but kill him. This guy was the only person who did, this random inmate. Meaning he was hurt the most. This was the guy that was the most depraved of them all. Even Harley didn't kill Joker or Arthur. No. This guy was hurt the most, which is important. He was the one willing to kill because he was betrayed the most. Another thing I want to address before we get into the nitty-gritty is that people had issues with, oh, I don't know if the musical's fake or not, you know? In some of the scenes, it seems almost like it's real, but it's not, you know? I don't like that because it doesn't move the plot along like in other musicals. What? What? Are we forgetting about the last movie? Half the shit in that movie was made up in Arthur's head, yet we applauded for it. We thought it was amazing. Oh, well, it still moved the plot forward. Are you kidding me? If you actually looked into the musicals, you realize it moves the plot forward because it goes into depth on Arthur. Some of it's a little on the nose, I know, but still, it does move the plot because the plot is understanding Arthur and Arthur understanding himself. He's not the Joker. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. But let's start with Arthur and Harley meeting for the first time. Right? I'm not going to go into too much depth with this part because either I missed a lot, which I probably did, or there just isn't a lot there. But I am going to bring up one thing in specific. When Harley brings up that Arthur had a movie made about him, and Arthur cares about this movie plenty of times through the movie. He cares about the movie made about himself because it will reflect what people think of him. They will see his backstory. They will understand his actions. And he's so worried about it being good because it's, to him, the movie is the only thing that's going to justify his actions. All right? If other people can understand why he did those things, then he won't feel so bad about it himself. He'll be like, oh, they understood me, so clearly it was okay. I just think that was a really important part, and I really want to talk about it because it was brought up like 4 times throughout the movie, clearly he meant something. So I just wanted to start with that. And now, let's get into the first song, which I'm going to address the song that isn't even sung by Harley or Joker or Arthur, whatever. In this scene where Harley and Arthur finally talk a little bit, there's one important detail I want to go over. And that, what's his name? Jackie Sullivan. Now, if you remember that name, you have a better memory than me. That is the main prison guard at Arkham. The one who had his way with Arthur later on in the movie. And I want to address this because one point that many people bring up is the way that Arthur realized Joker was bad is he literally had it intercoursed out of him, unwanted intercourse out of him. Thanks, YouTube. No. It's not why. I mean, it's kind of why. I'm not going to say it's not the complete reason, but it's just not the complete reason. And I'm bringing this special case up because throughout the movie, Arthur actually plants his own Joker thoughts into Jackie, which helps Jackie come to the conclusion, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this intercourse with Arthur. And does it justify his actions? No, it's just Arthur can be somewhat held responsible. Completely? Absolutely not. Okay? I'm not here to defend Jackie. I'm just here to say that throughout the movie, there is actually hints that Arthur was getting to Jackie. I'll actually touch on this a little bit more later, so we're just going to move on. But what I wanted to hit on was that Jackie was singing alone. Throughout the movie, no one else does this. At least from what I noticed. I really hope I'm not wrong about that. Jackie sings in the background while Harley and Arthur are talking. And this is important because it shows that he isn't completely thinking right in the head. Because throughout the movie, it's clearly shown that when they're singing, it's something bad, alright? It means psychosis, basically, alright? And when Jackie is literally doing that. So, it's kind of hinting to us that he isn't right in the head. Which kind of points out why he did those actions later. And, it's foreshadowing. So, there's foreshadow number one. We'll have a lot of that later on in the video. So now we're going to actually touch on an Arthur scene. This is the scene where Arthur's singing after being on the television, and where he's singing in front of all of the other prisoners and prison guards, and, it's fake in his head. Alright? This song first of all, I want to say, I loved all the songs, okay? Everybody's like, oh, they sound bad. I love them, okay? I did. I might be alone on that one, but I loved them. So, passing that part. In this song, he sings about how he finally has someone in his life. But there's one thing off with this song, which is in the lyrics. I have someone I know won't desert me. And, in the lyrics, for once in my life, I've got someone who needs me. And then at the end of the song, he repeatedly says, for once in my life, I've got someone. And he's cut off before we can assume, say, who needs me. Now, basic, oh, finally Arthur's recognizing that he loves someone. Well, that's not in depth. Well, actually, it kind of is. Because whenever he says these lyrics, he's masked in darkness and says it angrily. Alright? When he says, for once in my life, I've got someone who needs me. He's covering his face and it's dark, alright? And he's saying it deep and he's almost angry in his voice. Alright? He is just not happy when he says those things. And at the end of the song, when he's repeatedly saying, for once in my life, I've got someone. For once in my life, I've got someone. He is like commanding. His veins are popping out of his neck. He is yelling at those prisoners. He is mad when he says it. Foreshadowing 10 times. Because what happens? That someone who needs him doesn't need him. Doesn't need anybody. We will talk about this constantly. Harley is the worst. This movie is about about Arthur forgetting to be Joker and Harley becoming the Joker. So I'm gonna skip the part where Harley sets fire to the piano and that little segment because we'll go over it later in the video when it's a little bit more important. But right now we're gonna skip to the part where Arthur is being taken down by climbing the fence at Arkham. And when he gets put in solitary confinement, he goes into song, believe it or not. They like to do that a lot. And which it is the first indication of who is the main character. Harley. She is on the roof of that building. White dress, bright white. Well, what is Arthur? Dressed as a Joker, like usual in the singing, but in this darker suit, and it just doesn't feel like the light is like bouncing off of him, like Harley. And who is the only one singing? Harley. She wants to be the center of attention. It just happens to be that for her to get that attention, she needs to be with Arthur, aka Joker. And we again see Harley wanting to be the center of attention, which we will continue to bring to light. And then, after this scene, we get to one of the most disgusting intercourse moments ever. Oh my god. First time I watched this, talk about disgusting. But what would you expect from Arthur? He's... yeah. But anyways, for Harley to have intercourse, he needs to wear the paint. He needs to wear the makeup. This clearly shows, again, that she's only interested in the Joker. And this is where I'll say, again, the director, I don't remember his name, constantly just hits things on the nose a little too hard. And whatever, I guess. This is one of those scenes I didn't really care for, but we'll get to the ones I really, really liked. So now we're going to cut to the interview with Patty Myers, which is when Arthur and the one interviewer, Patty Myers, are sitting across from each other in the cell, and that whole shebang. But I want to cut right before that, and Arthur is in the room over watching the interview, talking to his attorney. And while they're talking, the attorney says, "You're not Joker, you're Arthur Fleck." And then Arthur just kisses her. You know, he stomps out his cigarette and kisses her. This is my opinion here. This is, of course, I mean, most of this is my opinion, but this one I kind of stretch a little bit more than the rest. I think that this is to show that deep down he loves and appreciates anyone who thinks he's Arthur rather than the Joker. Alright? He kisses a random inmate in the yard. I didn't really watch that scene too many times to figure out its in-depth because I don't really get it myself. But anyways, he kisses her. And this is mimicked when later on, when he fires her, she says, "Arthur, don't do this. This is real." And he says, "You better believe it's real." and then he kisses her again. It is like Arthur is literally kissing his reality away, and it's real for him to kiss her because I want to say it's the only person he really that loved, and I want to use loved as a looser term there, and like not romantically, but like as a friend. I don't know, almost as a mother, and he just he can't overcome that because society is telling him no. We want to see the Joker. We'll get into depth with that more. So we're gonna cut to the scene where Arthur is actually being interviewed by Patty Myers, and we're gonna talk about when Patty Myers hands Arthur a newspaper. What does this newspaper have? Harley's face. This is what Harley wants. She wants to be known. She wants to be known as Joker 2. That's the name of the movie. Well, not really, but that's the name. Wow. Wow. And after this, seeing this, he says some words like, isn't she something? Or something like that. But then he goes into song. All right. Song again. And we're going to go into depth with this song. Arthur starts a song with calling Harley a fool. This is ironic because Harley is actually treating him like the fool. And this is actually said later on. And he literally states in the next line, I'm in love like a babe in arms. He's the baby being controlled by the mother. He's latched to her, and it is just contradicting his prior statement. He's the babe. He's the one that doesn't have control. Yet, Arthur is calling Harley a fool. It's just an ironic twist, and it just tells the audience about their relationship now and soon to be worse relationship. And this is even pushed more, believe it or not, when Arthur sings, she can laugh, and I love it, although the laugh's on me. He knows she is playing him, but he is too in love. He finally has someone who says, I love you. And he doesn't care because she hasn't hurt him like others have. She hasn't done anything that is as bad as betrayal. And then, also, to add on this continuous push, Harley being in control, the only words that Harley sings in unison with this song is bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. She is literally acknowledging that she is in control. And then she steals the TV and carries it away. She literally has Joker in her hands. Arthur Joker, both terms, whatever. There's also something I want to touch on here. And that is Jackie. Yes, the prison guard is back. I know. But this is a scene where I really think it has that subtle hint that I wish the movie was filled with more. I maybe missed a lot. But it cuts to Jackie for a second when he's singing. And it's important because Jackie isn't like mad when Arthur starts singing. He's like almost astonished. It's almost like the words are getting to him. Joker's words are getting to him. Because when Arthur is singing, he's not Arthur. He's the Joker. Alright? He is acting like the Joker with those mannerisms. And Joker's words are getting to Jackie. Meaning Joker's ways of chaos and evilness are getting to Jackie. And again, this is not to blame Arthur. getting wrapped later on in the movie. This is just to point out that unintended consequences are happening because of Arthur's and Joker, both of them, behavior. So now we're going to cut to the scene where Arthur is going to the courthouse. This is a really interesting scene because when Arthur's in the car, he's handcuffed and, in the backseat, whatever. He's like looking out the windows when he sees all these protesters, and he's like smiling. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get out of here. Let's do this. He's thinking that all these protesters are there to see him get free. It is so clearly not the reason why they're there. All right, while he's going like, yeah, let's get out. I'm gonna get out of here. The protesters are banging and screaming at the window, like just complete opposite of Arthur's behavior. And the protesters are there to prove that the Joker is more than one person. And the law is going to have to change to allow such freedoms, to allow more Jokers. Then, when Arthur is brought to the courtroom, he starts singing and says, because when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Clearly stating that for the world to love him and be on his side, he needs to smile, which means he needs to be the Joker. So now we're going to cut to Harley, specifically before she enters the courthouse. So, Arthur's in his chair, and he's like, where's Harley? She said she'd be here. She's right outside smoking her cigarette. And this is where she begins to sing. And she sings a song that they played earlier in the piano scene when she sets it on fire, which I'll say in a second. But in this, she sings, or where the scene where the villain is mean, that's entertainment. This is the only time, other than the piano scene, where this line is sung, which they sing this song like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. And this is the only time she says this, because it plays into her own ego. And this line causes her to smile, which it also just causes her to start dancing. And she sings, the lights on the lady with tights, or the bride with the guy on the side, or the ball where she gives it her all. This is her just directly saying it. Yeah, there's Arthur, but then there's me. I'm the main attraction. I'm the one who's in charge. I'm the one who holds the power. And like I said with the piano scene, in the piano room, when they're watching this movie, Arthur's trying to get her attention, like, oh, you're going to miss the singing part. She sets the piano on fire, and in the movie, it sings that exact line, the lights on the lady with tights, that whole thing. And she's like, now that I understand. All right, she's again proving the point. You can say it's even played on more when the song then goes, the plot can be hot, simply teeming with sex. This is where Arthur laughs, and he looks at Harley, but she doesn't look at him. She stays emotionless in this piano scene. So this is just another indicator of her lack of love for Arthur, and in Arthur's lack of experience and knowledge in relationships. So now we're going to cut to Arthur being told of Harley's lies from her fraudulent past. And it goes into song again with the most obvious of points, where they keep singing and saying, you don't know what it's like. And this is not the Limp Bizkit song. This clearly shows that Arthur wants to believe that Harley is like him, and she knows what it's like to be hurt. But it's all just a show to her, that means that Arthur means little to her. When Harley starts singing to the crowd and even says it's about singing for the audience, Arthur's like, oh, well, I thought it was about me, I thought we were about each other. But then Harley says, well, let's give the people what they want. Pulls a gun at Arthur, because that's what the people want to see. They want to see a horror and chaos, which is what the Joker is. The audience even laughs at Arthur and Joker for getting shot and acting serious at the end. Which this song they sing is like the most obvious with the points, you can watch it in the theater and understand exactly what it means. Whatever, I love the song, okay? I'm sorry. I thought the song was amazing. I literally, when I was watching that scene, that's all I cared about. I didn't care what was going on. Just listened. But then we cut back to Arthur, where he's, facing Harley in prison, where there's like the little window between them so they can talk. And he says, my lawyer says you're playing me for a fool. I'm no fool. Clearly cutting back to when Arthur was singing in the interview when he called Harley a fool. It is him clearly, it's just a complete turnaround where now he's acknowledging that he isn't the fool, that he knows he might be the fool. And Harley doesn't answer this question. Well, this statement. Because she is playing him. She is, alright? She knows it, and she doesn't want him to look anymore into it. So, Harley proceeds to say, I moved into your old apartment. Arthur says, I don't want to live there. Because that's where the Joker was made. That's where the horror was. He doesn't want to deal with that. He doesn't want to be the Joker. He doesn't want to go through that again. He wants to live in, a new life, because that's what he feels like. When he met Harley, it's a new day, a new era for him. But Harley pops the big bombshell and says, I'm pregnant. While she is saying, I'm pregnant, she's exhaling, and what comes out of her mouth? Smoke. This is just complete irony, because what's not good for a baby? Smoking. So this is where I just think she's completely lying. She is just a liar. And immediately after this, Arthur is looking down. He's almost it's looking like he's about to get pissed. But Harley starts singing. And you know what she says? She says, why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. After this, right after this, Arthur is just happy. Because she is reminding him that this will guarantee that they will be close. And she continues to build up his ego throughout the song, and she directs her words towards him to make him feel better, which is one of the only times in the movie where she sings for him rather than for herself or for the people. All right? This is Harley just trying to get him to believe that they're going to stay together forever. And, if you are pressuring someone to stay in a relationship, an unhealthy relationship, a baby is a perfect way to keep someone in, because they don't want to deal with, paying child support, or they don't want to deal. They think that a baby might bring them closer together. It's a terrible, terrible way, but it's the honest truth. So, now we're going to go to the scene where Fleck is Sir Arthur feels most betrayed, which is by his mother, where she told him that his whole reason for being on Earth was to make people laugh and happy. And, the witness, whatever her name was, says that the mother didn't believe that for a day and just made it up and couldn't believe that Arthur took it seriously. This causes Arthur to go into song. And I think the song is The Joker Is Me. I honestly don't know the names of these songs, but he starts by saying, well, he doesn't start, but he says in the song, "The fate deals the hand that I see." This is when Harley pulls the gun on him and clearly showing his fate, that he is being betrayed and left to die. But she doesn't shoot him because he continues to sing. And he never shoots anybody in this room. He only shoots the cameras. This kind of shows that, I don't know if necessarily Arthur knows, but I think it's just the director telling us that the Joker, like, the thing that's keeping the Joker alive, and that the Joker himself, or Arthur himself, hates, is society. He hates that people are wanting him to be the Joker, so he shoots the cameras in the room. He doesn't shoot anybody else. But he does kill 2 people, being Harvey Dent and the judge. You know what? When he kills those 2, what's on his face? It's not a smile. He's not smiling. It's not a big smile. He's frowning. He's mad. There's only 2 times he's happy. When he picks up Harley in this, and when he shoots himself. Those are the only 2 times that he is happy. The Joker is only happy when he's dead, because he hates himself. So now that we talked about that really depressing scene, let's go in another one. And I want to say, I love this scene. Oh my god. If you hate the rest of the movie, I don't care. I don't care what anyone has told you. Go watch this movie for this one scene. This one scene. Alright, no scene in this movie compares to this one. Oh, the emotion that the emotions you feel, it just, like, I don't want to say it made me want to cry, but it was getting there. I loved this scene because this was the climax. This was the climax to me. This was where the movie turned. This is where Arthur begins to pretend that he's the Joker in the courtroom, and he's treating everything like a joke. Of course, he's a Joker. He's using a hard Southern accent when talking. Your Honor. He's trying to be funny. He's like, hey, these people like it when I'm the Joker, so clearly they like it when I'm funny. And then we get the guy, the myth, the legend, Mr. Puddles. And what does Arthur do? What does Joker do? He starts to make fun of Mr. Puddles' last name. This is so incredibly important because it proves that Arthur just wants to be funny. Arthur has such a different way of humor that he finds it funnier that Mr. Puddles' last name is Puddles rather than him being a dwarf. That tells you something about Arthur. I don't know if it's because he understands that Mr. Puddles can't do anything about his height, but can about his last name, or else if he just really doesn't find it that funny. Whatever it is, this is, like, really, really deep, because it shows that Arthur might just be misunderstood. He might just find these things funny just because he finds him funny. That's it. There's no background behind it. He just finds them fun. And the scene that broke me was when Mr. Puddles said, "You were the only one at work that never made fun of me." Mr. Puddles saw Arthur as a friend. He did. Arthur didn't see it though. Yeah, he liked him, but he didn't know that Mr. Puddles actually saw him as a friend. And when he realized how much he hurt Mr. Puddles when he killed the one guy, whatever his name was, that got to Joker. You know, he started yelling, "Get out! You know, I don't have any more questions." This is just crazy. Out of anyone to make Joker break out of his Joker persona, Mr. Puddles did. The only friend that Arthur ever had. And this can be even added on that he's the only friend when they sing the "I'm Gonna Build a Mountain" song. I probably think this is my favorite song. If not for the symbolism, for just the music. Oh, it's so good. In this song, Fleck Arthur only sings for one portion, which he sings with Harley, and they say, "I don't know how we're gonna do it, only know we're gonna try." Then it cuts to where the two are getting married. And throughout this sequence of their little marriage, Harley is singing, and only Harley. And she's saying, I'm gonna build us a mountain. I'm gonna build us a heaven. You know, I, me. Not us, me. She she's gonna be the one to carry on the legacy. Because she doesn't, maybe she realizes that Arthur is kind of getting away from being the Joker she thought he was. But anyways, she wants to be the person to keep the Joker around and keep it on the public's eye. And this is built on more when the priest asks, like, do you take this woman as your wife, or woman as your, yeah. He just says, do you? And, Arthur's like, I do. What does Harley do? She says, oh yeah. Not in that turn, not in that, like, voice, but what, like, in a singing voice, because that's the only thing that matters to her. Her song matters more than their love. And what happens right after this? It cuts to them singing at, like, some bar or some shit. And Harley's jamming on the piano singing. And what does Arthur do? He's still in his Joker get up. He goes out and he tap dances. I know some people didn't like this sequence, but this is very important because it is literally showing Arthur/Joker's last performance, in that they're only interested in the performance because the lights are on him during the tap dance. They're seeing what they want to see, but the literal second that the tap dancing stops, the lights go out. Instantly go out. No one cares what happens after that. And this is where I believe Arthur quit wanting to be the Joker. And if you noticed who Joker's or Arthur's best man at the wedding was, it was Mr. Puddles. And that Mr. Puddles saying that he saw Arthur as a friend really hit him deep. And that he considered Mr. Puddles as his best man at his wedding. So even if Arthur hurt him, he still thinks Mr. Puddles is his only friend. I don't even have a script for this next part because I just want to be real with you guys. All right.
the rap scene between the guards and Arthur. All I can say is I've proved that the hints were there. That Arthur isn't. I'm not saying he's to blame for this, but he didn't help. And it is clear that the guards were like already messed up in the head, and maybe they should have been in the institute themselves. But it just, some people say this is the reason why Arthur quit being a Joker. That's dumb. That's dumb. No, come on. Don't don't take that at face value, because what happens in the literal next scene, one of Arthur's, I want to say friends, because it's like the only person that Arthur really talked to in jail, that well, in Arkham, that wasn't one of the guards. He dies because he is singing, because he was singing for Arthur. And I just, I don't know, I think that if anything, hurt more to Arthur. I say if that's true? No, I can't. Okay, I'm not I'm not in his brain. I don't know, but I think that that's really pushing the point that Arthur is finally is paying for these unintended consequences. I mean, most consequences are unintended, but these ones are pretty damn bad. So now we're gonna go to the scene where Harley's putting on her makeup. This is where she sings, "Life is a beautiful thing, as long as I hold on the string." And she ends the song by singing, "What a world, what a life, I'm so in love." The love she refers to is herself and her fame. This is emphasized by the fact that she is surrounded by people. The attention that they're giving her is like all at the end of the song. When she's going up the stairs to the courthouse, people on either side looking at her. People are cheering for her. That's all she cares about. She says, "Life is a beautiful thing as long as I can hold on that string." She's talking about Arthur. She is holding on the string, being Arthur. She gets to choose when he gets to cut that thread off, though. And we see that that does happen later on, being this next scene I'm going to talk about. When Arthur meets up with Harley at the end of the movie, Harley sings a song that is winging along, or a dance with a touch of romance. You believe in all that we had dreamed. That's entertainment. Clearly depicting their relationship. That they danced, there was a touch of romance, gross, but romance, and he believed what they had dreamed. Because she realized it was a dream. Because she wanted it to be a dream. She was the one that wanted to be in the famous position that Arthur was in. And it was entertainment. That's all she saw it as. And this is the cruelest thing she's done when she dumps him. And I don't know. I would like to say that Harley is a terrible person. All right, I think that's a given. But this movie really touched on toxic relationships. So I just want to touch on some last stuff before I end the video. And that's an argument that this movie just contradicts everything from the last. And that's wrong. Okay? People are like, well, in the last Joker, he became the Joker. And in this movie, he became not the Joker. So yeah, it's contradicting. No. No. The last movie wasn't the the main point wasn't him becoming the Joker. It was him being noticed. It was Arthur being somebody. It's just that people noticed him for the wrong reasons. And that's a main theme I want to talk about. Society is promoting this behavior. There's a difference between understanding and promoting. When we watched Joker 1, we understood where Arthur came from. We understood we understood that, hey, these are not great people. But that doesn't mean we should promote that behavior, as bad as those people are. And I also want to touch on that. Well, this should have been the real Joker. You know, why did they make it this random nobody? Well, because this Joker, Arthur, didn't understand the consequences of his actions. And he just wanted to be recognized as somebody. That's not the Joker. That's never been the Joker. The Joker doesn't give a shit about his consequences, the consequences of his actions. All right? When he's getting beat up by Batman in the prison cell, he doesn't care. I think he's laughing. He does not care. This is not the same Joker. And I understand. Oh, but there's a lot of Jokers, you know? Which one are you talking about? Because the Dark Knight Rises isn't the only Joker. I don't care what 2-page little story you got in a 2001 comic book from DC. I don't care. Because in the majority of Jokers, Joker doesn't care about the consequences of his actions. Because that's just how he is. And this is not that same Joker. So this isn't Joker to me at all. So, just to get to a conclusion here, this movie told us why we can't be the Joker, why we can't promote such behavior. You might be like, oh, that was pretty obvious, you know. Well, who cares then? You know, after watching the first Joker, I knew why it could be the Joker. Because people die. That's not a reason. That's not a reason. Okay? People die every day. Oh, but I'm the cause. Alright? But these are bad people. Alright? So, wow. It's a big whoop. People die. Like it or not, people dying is more and more common on TV. This movie actually tells us, it shows us the consequences. And how more than just those people you're killing are hurt. Mr. Puddles, the only friend of Joker, was hurt because Joker killed a bad guy. Alright, he might not be a good guy, but that doesn't make him a bad guy. That doesn't make him a person meant to be murdered. So, again, I want to state, I'm not here to say you're incels. I'm not here to say you all misunderstood, you're all idiots. That's not what I'm doing. I'm here to say I like this movie, and I really hope a lot of other people like it too. So, I'm sure that you noticed the very, very grainy camera I bought for $20, $10, and you can now see my ugly mug. So, yeah. And before I end up, thank you for watching.